All right, Hunter, here we are with a review because we're going to test on Friday. It's Wednesday morning, and we're sorry you're not with us, so what's with that? Come in soon, and we want you to be all caught up, so when you watch this video, take notes and study them as you go. We are going to talk about one last question, and it's on our Day 7 notes. And Hunter, this went home. There's a copy here if you need it as well. And so you can add that to your notes as well. So find a place on Day 7. And the question of the day is, and actually there's a little graph on your, see where that graph is on the back that we haven't addressed yet? Is it down in the left-hand corner? Mm-hmm. That's to be a good place to put this question near that. The question is, when velocity is 0, must acceleration also be 0? Please write that out in all its glory. If velocity is 0, must acceleration also be 0? So when I look at that graph that I wanted to answer that question from, see if you can look at it and find a spot where the velocity is 0. What kind of graph is that, Zach, on that corner there?
Velocity versus time.
So we're on a velocity time graph. Remember, we communicate what graph we're on so we know whether we're looking for slope or just reading on the axis. So you have to know what you're starting with. So the graph looks something like this. It has a value coming down, and there's some 0 marks, but it doesn't reach them, and then it goes back up, then it comes back down, and then it does cross the 0 mark, and goes even lower than my board shows, something like that. All right, here's a rough sketch of that, and
so the two of them are the same graph.
pardon?
Two of them are the same graph.
2 of them? What do you mean 2 of them?
Two.
Yeah, but we're answering this question with that, since we already have a lot of stuff written on that. Oh yeah, you mean you're saying the basic same shape? I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, you're right. So if velocity is 0, must acceleration also be 0? I'm sure you were wondering, so we're going to clear that up. So find a spot on that graph in the corner that we haven't written on yet, at where velocity is 0. So put your pencil on in one spot where the velocity is 0 in that graph. Okay, you got it? Remember, this is a velocity graph. All right. Good? Good? All right, so everyone is zeroing in. Hunter, I hope you are as well, right here. Because this is a velocity graph, we are reading the velocity of that point over here, and it's 0. So now take a look, see, and tell me, what is acceleration at that point? Yes, Emily?
It's not 0.
It is non-zero. It's is it a negative number or a positive number?
Negative.
All right, the way you tell acceleration on a velocity graph is the slope. So here's the slope line. That is not a 0 slope. So I don't know what it is, but I could ask you to do a rise over run and find it out, but I'm not that curious. So I just know it's not 0. So we found a spot where velocity is 0, but acceleration is not. It could be. This could be, at this point, a peak or a valley where the slope would be 0, but I have the word must here. So that will qualify that the answer is mu 9. All right, no. So velocity is 0, must acceleration be 0? All right, so that begs another question, does it not? I'll put it above it. If acceleration is 0, must velocity also be 0? So write that question and then begin examining the same graph and see what your answer could be. See if you can lead me. Find a spot where the acceleration is 0, put your pencil there, and then tell me if the velocity is also 0. You lead us in that discussion, Brian, once you've written the question down and have figured out what you think the answer is. We're on this top. If acceleration is 0, must velocity also be 0?
No.
All right, and why? Where can I find a spot? Just show me on your graph and I'll copy it on the board where velocity is 0. I'm sorry, acceleration is 0. Where? Acceleration. Since we're on a velocity curve, we're looking for acceleration is a slope. Yep, that's good. Yep.
Yeah, right here.
Right, all right, he picked this spot right here, and he was right, acceleration, the slope there is 0. We could have picked here as well. So one of the two, either one, if the acceleration is 0 here, is your velocity also 0?
No, it's not.
All right.
Well, I was going to think the graph was almost using like
What was that?
common sense, I guess, because you can be going out of velocity and going at a constant rate, not be accelerating, decelerating.
Right, and you have a velocity that's non-zero. Exactly. So remember the discussion we had about the day, what would your trip be like to school if you drove here all in the same velocity and never changed? That meant you'd have no acceleration, but you would definitely have a velocity. You would notice that when you came through the stop signs.
Yeah, but
All
what I
right.
don't get is how you can have acceleration without velocity.
Can you have an acceleration without velocity? I can't think of a case where you could, or acceleration means your velocity is changing, so you have to have a velocity, you know. All right, good
So-
point.
But numerically, you can have acceleration without velocity.
I want a graph,
Yeah.
are you saying?
Can you?
I was trying to think of that, like suppose we have this velocity versus time, and yeah, see there, they're both 0. So it's possible, but it's not required, just because acceleration bottoms out here, and the velocity is also 0. So they can both be 0, but I don't think you can have, like you said, I can't think of a case where you would have acceleration acceleration 0 and velocity, let's say you were saying acceleration non-zero and velocity 0. Yeah, you're right.
So
All right.
You can have, you can have a velocity without acceleration. You just can't
Yeah.
have acceleration without
Right,
velocity.
exactly. Good point. Yay,
So
yes.
change the answer. It's still no.
Yeah, the answer's still no. It is, to this question. To this question, it says, if acceleration is 0, so you're not accelerating.
But
Oh.
the question below that.
Okay, so like right here then, here is acceleration is 0, and that's gonna occur just for an instant. That's one instant when that's a good
Hey,
question.
Oh, what's up?
I'm walking in front of the camera that was for me.
Hey, Hunter,
Hi.
welcome.